I have officially put 20 hours into Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and this is going to be my first impressions of the game. What's going on, guys? I'm going to be honest here, guys. I haven't been able to stop playing this game. I want to talk about all the, good things and, some of the bad for sure in this game, and give you guys really my thoughts. Whether you're watching this video and you've never played the game, this might be a good insight for you if you want to pick it up or not. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, man. I truly think that, and this might be bold, but this is setting the bar here in terms of like immersion, RPG, just, the level of detail in this game and the way it captures you and sucks you in. If you allow it, it will drain your time. And you're gonna wonder, like, where did all that time go? Because this game is it's really impressive the way it's created. And this is where I think a lot of people are probably not gonna like this game, just because, especially I feel like nowadays, people want that instant gratification. People want like that quick dopamine, and that's not this game at all. Like, this game is a very slow burn, and it's going to take time for you to kind of find your footing, learn the game, move along. And for me, dude, that's very, very rewarding. Like, I think this game requires you to be very, very patient to really understand this game and how it works. And I think once you do, and once you get past that learning curve, you're going to find a lot of enjoyment out of this game. Now, I want to go back to immersion, because this is one of the things that I feel like it's either going to make or break people in terms of their enjoyment and what they think of the game, because this game is so realistic and immersive to the point where, like, for example, if you steal something from a town, and let's say you stole some gloves, right? And you leave and you come back wearing those gloves, like, people are going to notice that you stole those gloves. They'll even call you out and call you stupid and and say, like, look at this stupid dude wearing the thing he stole. Like, it's that level of immersion that can be annoying sometimes when it's put against you. But at the same time, you can't help but laugh or be impressed by the level of detail in this game. The detail in this game is really impressive, man. To the point where, like, if you're dirty, people will treat you differently. People will be rude to you until you wash up, until you're clean. If you dress nice, people are going to talk to you a different way. You're going to be able to haggle, or you're going to be able to achieve certain speech dialogue options because of what you're wearing, or how clean you are, or whatever, and those are the little details that I found really, really cool in this game. Like I said, I think for some people this might not be the game for them, and that's totally fine. But I think if you just give yourself into the game and let it kind of just consume you, you're gonna walk away with like a really impressive experience. And I've heard people say this now, where this is where Elder Scrolls should be. This is where Starfield should have been. This level of immersion, this type of game is what Starfield should have been. And I totally agree, because once I play this game and I go and play like even a Skyrim at this point, I'm gonna feel like, man, it's gonna be less immersive, because it like I'm telling you guys, it's crazy the level of immersion this game offers. It's gonna be hard to go back, and that's why I'm saying, like, the bar has been set so high. It's going to be hard to explain every single thing and what I really mean, but you have to play it for yourself to really understand what I'm really saying here. But all I'm trying to say is that the world is alive, the characters feel real, the way they react to you, everything that you do kind of has like this consequence, and people remember you. The funny thing is, like, your character is like a nobody. You're not this superhero, you're not this, main character character that, people care about. Like, nobody gives a shit about you, especially in the beginning of the game. Like, nobody cares about you. They go by their day, and you kind of have to like earn that from the game. So where I stopped in the story is right before the wedding. So the wedding is kind of like I think the first big major quest in the game. When you play the game, you have like this long 2-hour tutorial, and then you hear about this wedding. Without going into detail, you want to get into this wedding for story reasons, and that's pretty much like what you're working towards in the beginning of the game. I've like done so many things at this point. I could have done the wedding like probably 10 hours ago, but I've just been exploring, doing side quests. Some of these side quests are really meaningful. You learn things from people, and they take you down a route that you did not expect. There's a lot of humor in this game. I found myself laughing so much in this game, and that's something that I really, really appreciate and love about this game, is that like there's so much humor in this game, and like it really made me laugh a lot. I want to talk about combat, because combat in the beginning of the game is going to be completely overwhelming. You're going to be slapped around, and you're going to die so many times until you really understand how the combat works. I suggest you save a lot, and we'll get into saving and how that works and how that can be a little confusing, but we'll get into that. Combat, right? It's going to take you a bit, because in the beginning, you're just like, in the tutorial, you kind of learn how the combat works, but it's completely different in the open world, especially if you're fighting like a couple of dudes. You're going to get overwhelmed easily. What I suggest is you save, you learn the combat. There's also a dude called Tomcat early on in the game that you can travel to. He teaches you a few things. You can fight him and train with him, and then he teaches you this really valuable trick where if you hit the attack button on the opposite side of where the enemy's attacking, not only will you deflect their attack, but you do an attack towards them, which is really, really helpful early on in the game. Combat can really feel janky at times, but I've really learned to grow to like the combat. It's not perfect. It's definitely like, I don't know, man. Like when you first do the combat, I don't think anybody was like, "Oh man, this is amazing." Like there's like this acquired taste to the combat that I think even for some, it's just not going to cut it. For me, it took me a bit to really, get to a point where like I enjoy it now. Like when I see bandits, when I see a group of people that want to, screw with me, I'm all in. I think once you really get your footing, like I said, you're going to just get better at this game naturally. And one of the things that I really like about this game is the more you use something, the more you do something, the more you're gaining experience in whatever that is. It really reminds me of Fable back in the day, the first Fable, where like the more you used, strength, like with the sword, the more you gained experience. The more you use the bow, the more you gain experience with the bow. And that's really how this game is. Like the more you do alchemy, the more you do blacksmithing, the more you ride your horse, like you're gonna gain experience in those things. And I really love that, man. That is the level of RPG that I enjoy. I really like the character Henry in this game. He just seems like such a, good person. He's got a good voice actor. By the way, the voice acting in this game is really awesome. All the characters, the main characters sound great. And graphically, man, I'm playing on the PlayStation 5 Pro. This game looks absolutely crazy. And I think it's one of those games that really are one of the first few games that really make me realize like, okay, like I'm getting my money's worth with this console, because you don't even have a choice of like performance or graphics. Like the game just kind of auto sets it to whatever it is. It's definitely running in 60 frames. I don't know if it's like full 4K, but the game is beautiful and it definitely has that AAA look to it. I think overall though, the game definitely still feels like an indie game, if that makes any sense. Like it's a triple A indie game, if that makes any sense, because there are bugs, there are jank, and there are times where, you know, you're playing the game and something happens in the world and you're like, okay, that was kind of clunky, that wasn't supposed to go down like that. But honestly, man, like I really forgive those things just because, again, how immersed I am into this game, how much I'm enjoying this game, to the point where I really feel like this is a strong Game of the Year contender. Obviously, it's very early on in the year. There's a ton of games coming out this year, and with the amount of games coming out this year, I can see how this game might be forgotten later down the road. But I really, really highly recommend this game, especially to anyone who enjoys RPGs. I really love the medieval bohemian, you know, time period where, you know, you're gonna hear all kinds of accents and all kinds of dialogue that you've never heard before. Like I'm really impressed with the homework that Warhorse went to, the level they went to really bring this world to life. And the believable factor of this game is really what impresses me at the end of the day. They really went hard in doing their research and, you know, putting everything into this game to make it feel like this is the time period that you're in. And I think like they truly deserve credit for this, because I feel like this setting has to be incredibly hard to do. And what's even more impressive is there's like a codex system in the game, and you can like read up on all the things back in the day, from like nobles to peasants and all this stuff. So I found myself, you know, sitting down before I end the game sometimes and just read through. Dude, I don't know, man. I really love this game. It's been really hard to put it down. I got a buddy of mine that I've been playing with. Shout out to my friend. You know who you are if you're watching this video. We've been talking about this game back and forth when we're not playing it. And it's one of those games that like I'm going to have a completely different experience than you will, you know, aside from the main storyline, right? But even so, there's so many decision making in this game that you can literally take one path or the other, or, you know, you can tell somebody I'm going to help them out, but then you end up not helping them out. Or like you tell someone you're going to help them out, but then you go over to the other side where you're supposed to, for example, steal something from them and bring it back, but you end up telling those people, hey, these guys are on to you. Like there's so many little things like that where you can truly like take matters into your own hands, really carve your own path in this game. And it's really, really impressive, man. I said this early on, but I really do think that this game sets the bar incredibly high, where you're going to play other games and then you're going to come back to this game and you're going to be like, wow, this game truly set the bar high. Like the way I look at games moving forward, like they have to have at least some of these systems and mechanics because they're really impressive. But yeah, man, I ended up doing the tutorial, which is about 2 hours, and the tutorial is really, really good. Like, dude, that tutorial is like one of the best 2 hours in a game for me in a long time. I ended up doing the tutorial, and then I slowly did a little bit of main missions, and then I went off and just went out to the open world. At first, I was overwhelmed. I was like, what am I going to do first? Where do I go? What do I do? But the more you play, the more you find your footing, like I said. And what I've been trying to do is like, I'll do like a main mission, then I'll spend a couple of hours out in the open world, then I'll do another main mission, and I got to the wedding at this point, and that is where I'm at. And there's so much story that I have yet to see. There's so many things that I feel like I've yet to do. I feel like even after 20 hours, I have barely scratched the surface in this game, and that is what is amazing. I can seriously see myself playing this game for a very long time. But those are my first impressions after 20 hours of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I really, really like this game a lot. I am very impressed by the game. It's not perfect. There are going to be times where you're frustrated, especially in the beginning. I felt that, especially when things didn't go my way or when I was overwhelmed or whatever it was. There's definitely going to be moments, I think, where you're overwhelmed and you get frustrated. And this is where I feel like you need to kind of just pause, reassess whatever is going on. And this is what brings me into saving. So the game has this weird save system where like you're supposed to drink a potion to save, but I have never done that in my 20 hours. What I do is I just save and quit, and then I load the game back. On the PS5 Pro, the game loads really quickly, so I can just save it. So anytime I feel like I'm gonna put myself in a situation where, you know, I might die or I might lose a speech or whatever it is, I'm gonna save and quit. And the game saves for you at like important pivotal moments in the game, like before a side quest or, you know, whatever, or when you sleep. So there's that. And then the potions, you can buy them, you can brew them, you can find them. You really don't need to use the potions. You can just save and quit. And the game has a ton of saves that are recent of you playing. But yeah, man, that is my first impressions of the game. Really enjoying this game, guys. And I highly recommend it. Even if you're, you know, just curious or like remotely interested, I say go for it. Check it out. You're gonna walk away with an amazing experience that I feel like you really don't find a lot of these type of games nowadays. The medieval setting is amazing. The experience, the immersion, the level of detail, the quality to the game, you know, despite some flaws and frustrations, I highly recommend this game, man. And I've been really enjoying it. But that's all. Hit that like button if you guys enjoyed this video, and consider subscribing to the channel. And if you are, man, I appreciate it. Peace.